Hello and welcome back to part 2. Today we're going to be having a look at the front garden and the driveway and overcome the problems for the client with this area. Hope you enjoy. Client wanted was like a morning area just to sit outside, have breakfast, grow some cut flowers, some few veg and areas like that. We've got an east side here which is going to get the morning sun. Because this is raised as well, it's going to get the sun into the afternoon before the house starts to create some shade in the hedges as it's come down lower in the season. So utilising what we've got here, we can re-utilise all the sleepers from the original property and create sort of a potager garden in this area, expanding this area out here, so we've got room for a small sort of bistro table, chairs in this area that would then link through into the potager garden, and then obviously access back down to the garage. The other big challenge we've got now is obviously this is the living room with a view out of the front window there. This is this beautiful open plan kitchen, large window there looking out across, and then they've got this sort of orangery room here, again glass all the way around with the French doors looking out in different directions. But what we have is this big area of just gravel. One problem they have been saying is when the postmen or delivery guys come in, they end up driving onto the grass to turn around and they're making a real mess. And it is just a huge sea of gravel. So let's see if we can try and tackle that problem, make it easier and a bit more attractive, again with the views from the front of the house. So one of the first things we can do is we can move the gates further in. We can have a little pedestrian gate and then a larger sort of main gate and bring the fencing around. So you're able to park the car there, or the poster can park his van there, go through the gate for delivering. Problem one solved, no dirty areas. Then the other thing we need to consider is how do we create somewhere where vehicles can turn around, because even though this is a large area of gravel, it still means like a 5 or 6 point turn if there's cars parked here. So I think the best thing to do here will be to create an area where we can turn the vehicles around in. Wide enough for maybe a couple of cars to fit in. And then what I'd want to do is to try and make it feel more of a driveway to the front instead of the just big sea of gravel. So what I'd like to try and do is just make it a little bit more formal, create a nicer entrance way. So if we were to square off the driveway, linking it into this area here, thinking about the view from this window here from the open area kitchen, I think if we were to plant a nice row of ornamental trees along this edge, we see past them to the other side, keeping this open garden look here to the front. But also, when you're driving in, you actually see these beautiful trees in front and potentially lit up at night time, which will create a really nice sort of welcoming area for any visitors driving into the area. These large windows here, these are full height windows almost all the way to the ground. At the moment, again, just looking onto a sea of gravel. If we retain this step here, create some borders to the front of these windows, that path can then come further out and around to the front door. We can soften this down with some low hedges and then maybe plant some ornamental grasses in an area of gravel to the front. So when we're looking out, it disguises the driveway. You're seeing the grasses in the breeze, looking across this large lawn, which again slopes down to a beautiful stream right at the very bottom of the garden. To recap, we've changed the entrance of the drive, creating an area where people can turn round very easily, get access to the drive, park a couple of cars side by side in this area. We've altered the entrance area to create a morning area for breakfast with a little bistro table, and then upcycling the original sleepers around the property already to create an area of raised beds to create a potager garden. We've altered the view and the walkway as we're coming out of the back door here, the French doors, to create this beautiful walkway surrounded by lush planting, leads all the way back down to a nice sitting area where you can have some nice outdoor sofas, a fire pit area, some steps down. We can soften this around with planting, and then a nice large area for the dining at the bottom. So there we have a general layout and transformation for the garden. Now let's go to the proper plans and watch them being drawn up.